So my name is Miguel Bustos, and I'm a proud member of the Board of Directors of Hispanics and Philanthropy, and as well as a trustee of the San Francisco Foundation. But I think more importantly, I grew up here. I live in the same house that my grandfather had in 1940 on 24th and Harrison. Those of you who are from the Mission know it's the purple house. My mom painted it purple 50, 60 years ago, and in her memory, we can keep keeping it purple. But what a delight it is for me to be here and have all of you, amigos y amigas y familia, in the Mission. In the Mission, that has survived gentrification, that has survived displacement. And as you will hear from Martina, we're trying to survive cultural erasure. This building is more than a building, it's a center of culture and spirit. And it is being threatened by our city. So we need to know that, and Martina will hopefully speak to that. But it is a joy. We have had an incredible 3 days at HIP, right? I hope you all met new friends, new colleagues, new connections, new thought partners, and new strategists in the struggle of equity in this country and across the border that we do at HIP in the Americas. So I just want to thank Adamani and the team for saying yes to Mission Cultural Center, to come in here, talking to Martina, meeting with their staff, and saying, yes, this is where we got to have our final night. And I also want to thank our next speaker. Some of you may or may not know, but in my past life, before I got this garb on, I was in politics. Maybe that's why I did this. And I worked for President Clinton at the White House. And during those years, there was a lot of movement, a lot of things happening. And I got to meet this next person. And Eleni Kounakis, who is our lieutenant governor, just was always consistent in her interest in communities. As a Greek American, she knows the values that we share as Latinos about family, culture, our faith, and spirit. And Eleni has been that constant voice. And so when I came back, thank God we got to work on a couple of other stuff, and now she's our lieutenant governor. I believe the first Greek American person and woman in the United States to be lieutenant governor. And maybe governor, hey. But I just have to say that, in my life I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of politicians. Not all politicians are leaders. And I hate to say that, because the many just broke my heart when they did things that weren't just. But I can tell you that our next speaker is not a politician. She is a leader. She's a leader that's grounded in what is right, with integrity. And I hope to God that you all get to know her better, because she is awesome. So with that said, I'm proud to honored to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Eleni Kounakis.
Miguel, thank you so much. We have been friends since the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I can say, in a million years, I never thought that I would run for office myself, but I actually could imagine you serving as you are now, Miguel, because your heart was always in service for the greater good. And I'm so honored that you would invite me to be here today with Martina in this incredible space with these amazing performers. Can we hear it for these incredible performers? Right? And recognizing the important work of Hispanics in philanthropy. And 40 years, millions, tens of millions of dollars raised and founded right here in San Francisco. So let's hear it for all of you. For 40 years, tens of millions of dollars. I grew up in Sacramento, as Miguel mentioned. I'm the daughter of an immigrant. My dad came to the United States alone, no money. He was a refugee after the Second World War, and he worked as a farm worker and then made his way to Sacramento and went to Sacramento State University, where he worked as a waiter, including in the governor's mansion. You can believe it. But when I was born, and Miguel, I never tell this story, but I'm gonna tell it. When my father immigrated, they changed his name. My maiden name is Tsakopoulos. And the Tsakopoulos who came to the United States a generation before him had shortened it to Chicos. So I was born Eleni Chicos. And I feel close to the community, not just because of my name, but frankly, because as a Griega, as a Greek, so much of the immigrant story, there really have been parallels. And now as Lieutenant Governor, people ask me all the time, here at home, in Washington, around the world, what is the key of California's success? The percentage of immigrants in the United States is about 12%, but the percentage of immigrants in California is 27%. And half of us have at least one immigrant parent. And as we know, the relationship between California and Latin America, the relationship between California and Mexico has defined this state and defined this place. People are projecting ahead in the United States and saying that soon the demographics will change so that America will be a majority-minority democracy. But it happened a long time ago in California. In fact, we're the largest majority-minority democracy in the world. And 40% of our population is Hispanic. 40%. Followed, by the way, by 35% Caucasian. So this is who we are as a state. And so when people ask me, I say, well, we have benefited from America's historic, generous immigration policies, the fact that America is a land of immigrants, and the fact that California has benefited to the point now that our culture is enriched, our democracy is strong, and by the way, if we were a country, we would be the 5th and maybe now the 4th largest economy in the world. That is the story of California. That is our story. And we can talk a lot about the importance of philanthropy, but the importance of the work of Hispanics in philanthropy is making sure that we're going and lifting up members of the Hispanic community. And I want to just say one piece that I have the privilege of working on. The Lieutenant Governor is the only person to sit on all 3 boards of public higher education in the state. The community college system, the Cal State University system, and the UC. If you look at this system of 2.6 million students enrolled, about 40% of the undergraduates are the first in their family to go to college, right? And a large portion of the student population, whether they're first gen or not, they are members of the Hispanic community. In fact, of the 23 Cal State campuses and of the University of California, there are 21 CSU campuses and 6 UCs that are Hispanic serving institutions. It's awesome, right? So I have the privilege of traveling the state and seeing our students, the next generation, with the energy and the excitement and their sleeves rolled up, many students who are undocumented, many students who come from hardworking families. We're going to college is an enormous privilege, and I get to work every day to make the system more accessible, more affordable, and make sure that all of our students succeed. say, I'm a San Franciscan now. I grew up in Sacramento, but I've been living here for over 20 years. My husband, also the son of refugees, also son of immigrants, he was born here in San Francisco, and his first home was here in the Mission. And he went to school here at what's now the Cesar Chavez School. And, the history of this city and the history certainly of the Mission and the culture that's represented here is such an incredibly important part of the fabric and deserves the support of all the San Francisco community. So please know that I live a mile away, and I'm so honored to be here and so honored to be your guest today, but know that you can always call on me for the important work that you do here at the Cultural Center and for the incredibly important work that Hispanics in Philanthropy do. So thank you. Thank you.
And by the way, when we asked her, she didn't hesitate to say yes. It was like within minutes, she emailed back, absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Welcome. Welcome. I am honored to welcome Hispanics in Philanthropy to the heart of the Mission and the hospital of the soul. Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts is the heartbeat of the Mission, offering multidisciplinary arts programs that breathe life into our community and make Latino art and cultural programming accessible to the community for the past 46 years. MCCLA is an essential component of community well-being. We heal our community through art, music, dance, and we are a convening space where people gather to practice ancestral cultural traditions and medicine. We are more than just an arts and cultural place that receives the last of the funding that's available. We are essential. Where would we have been throughout the COVID pandemic had we not had the arts and culture? Where would our soul be? We are essential. We are an inclusive space that welcomes a diverse, intergenerational, multicultural community that reflects the living tradition and experiences of Chicanos, Central and South American, Caribbean people, fostering pan-Latino pride. We are a national and a local historic landmark. This is the historic Mission Cultural Theater. And we are here because of the efforts of visionary artists and community activists that shared a vision to promote, preserve, and develop Latino arts and culture. Today, you join them in making history. The fact that you are here is historical. Take a picture. Your presence and support is part of the lineage of leaders, Latinx leaders that make a difference, that institutionalize arts and culture in our communities. This organization was created by, for, and about Latinx people, and I invite you to join our efforts to ensure long-term sustainability and strengthening of this important local, national, and international institution during our temporary relocation. This is a city-owned building. We rent it for $1 a year. It is in kind. And now we are being asked to leave for 3 years. We have nowhere to go, and we don't have the money. What do you think is going to happen to our 46-year-old institution without financial support, without advocacy, without all of you here? Do you see how critical it is that you are here? Thank you. Thank you for your support. As we celebrate the milestone of providing services to the Latinx community for the 46 years, we also face the challenges of overcoming years of underinvestment, neglect, and inequity. We came out of inequity, and look at us 46 years later, still struggling with the same problems because we have been underfunded. It is not okay. It is not okay. And we are here, we all have the power to transform the situation. We all have the power to make a difference. And I ask you today to join us. Our logo is the jaguar, Texcalipotca, the young Aztec deity that represents resistance, beauty, and transformation. We invite you to become a jaguar warrior that fiercely defends Latino arts and culture by contributing generously to our Jaguar Fund. You will see cards on the table, posters all over the room. Please be generous. We will ensure that any funds that are donated are used appropriately and responsibly, that we are judicious with how we manage our funds. We have activated all 4 floors for you today. Every floor will offer drinks and food. The lobby, the theater, the historic gallery museo, the print shop are all activated so that you can experience the impact of our sacred community convening space. You are invited to see Misión Gráfica, archival prints on display in the historic gallery in the 2nd floor. Those historical prints are just a small sampling, 60 prints out of over 8,000 prints that we have in our collection. The history of San Francisco, of Latin America, was printed here in this building. And we just got a grant from the Haas Foundation to finally get historical archival files. We did not even have them stored in a proper space. And we need to have a temperature control room to value and protect our history, our people's history. You are going to also be dancing in the gallery to the sound of Susana y su Orquesta Delante, to honor the many, many musicians that have come out of this place, such as Carlos Santana, John Santos, John Calloway, and Anthony Blair, and the list goes on, Rebecca Malion. We were the center for art, music, theater, dance. I am honored to have Calixto Robles as our Raíces artist in residence. It is the first time in 46 years that we received funding to have an artist in residence. Imagine that. We are paying an artist to create art. For the first time. Calixto Robles is an iconic printmaker. You will find a lot of his artwork. You know, Carlos Santana is a good friend of his, and he makes all his clothing and different prints for him. So you will have an opportunity to go up to Gráfica and learn some screen printing and make some prints. Make sure you take some prints home with you. We have bathrooms in the lobby and in the 3rd floor. There are elevators and stairs to take you to the different floors. And now it's time to party and have fun. I want to thank the Hispanics in Philanthropy for their support and for bringing you all here. Thank you for contributing to the history of the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts. Bienvenidos a su centro cultural.
Saquen la tarjetita. Does everybody have one? You know the drill. Scan me and then push. A nice big number with lots of zeros. Help Martina, help the Cultural Center. We must continue the fight and the beauty that you create here. And now it's my great honor, distinct pleasure to be able to introduce an amazing woman who I just recently met, but I had heard so much about her from Dr. Bob Ross. He kept saying, you must meet Bishop Minerva Carcaño. I was like, why? He's like, you're gonna know when you meet her why. She is the first Hispanic woman to be elected to the episcopacy of the United Methodist Church, and as you all know, that's the second largest Protestant denomination in the United States. She also serves as the leader of the United Methodist Church's Immigration Task Force, and she is the board chair of the California Endowment. And they are such lucky folks to have you, Bishop. So with that, I invite you up for a few words.
Good evening, friends. Buenas noches. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you, having spent these 3 days with many, many of you, I think all of you, and then some. It's just been an incredible convening of such wise, such committed, and such visionary Latino and Latina leaders. Una preciosa colectiva de familia. Eso ha sido lo mejor para mi espíritu. So thank you for that. Gracias a HIP por reunirnos, por proveer un ambiente bellísimo, lleno de hospitalidad, respeto y esperanza también. Gracias. Let's give HIP a thanks for this amazing conference. I've been to many, many conferences over my life. This is my 47th year being a minister and 20 years of being a bishop, and I've been to hundreds, thousands of conferences, but I've never been to one so welcoming and so purposeful. And so I'm so glad to have been here with all of you during these 3 days. As I share these thoughts with you, kind of closing thoughts that have come to my mind and my spirit, my greatest hope is that you hear your voice. I've been listening hard, I've been receiving, I've been the recipient of so much from all of you. I hope it does sound like our collective voice. What I've heard is that together we see and we continue to lament that our Hispanic communities are suffering from racism even today, from racial inequity, from economic disparities, from that growing wealth gap that continues to disadvantage Latinx people, from poor health. We're at the bottom of the health chart. And from violence, and it's all held in that stronghold of white supremacy and the insecurity now of a crumbling democracy. But, I'm going to say something you know already. We are not a people whose lives are determined by the scarcity of our suffering. We are not. We're very proud and we're very grateful people. Proud of our incredibly beautiful and rounding Latino cultures. Proud of how far we have come. Journeys that document over and over again the wisdom of the Latino community, our commitment to family and the bigger family, the extended family that we know as our comunidad. Our ability to persevere through hard work and the tenacious conviction, that deep, tenacious conviction that we are called to survive for the sake of the generations of our children who are yet to come. And we're grateful people, we're proud people together, but we're also very grateful people, grateful that the blood of our ancestors from whom we have inherited culture and wisdom, love of family and love of community, power and tenacity, that their blood runs in our veins and will keep us strong. We're grateful to the Creator who made us and looked upon us and every other race and ethnicity, all of creation, in fact, and smiled. I believe the Creator smiled when He saw you and saw each one of us and said, I'm pleased. I'm really pleased. You are good and you are of sacred words, so go and live a fruitful and abundant life. We've talked about abundance during these 3 days. We've talked about fruitfulness throughout the conference. Our collective imagination helping us to renew our commitment. I can tell you that much. My commitment is renewed. And it's reignited our vision. Can you not see it? We are a brown, black, and indigenous community that must work together for our common future. If one of us is left behind, we will not have gone far enough. Together, we need to help one another stay connected with and be proximate right there with our communities, those communities that we are day in and day out called to serve. Serving as true partners with our Latino communities, with our siblings, and not as those who have made it, who hold the money and will dictate the rules. It's about relationships and not transactions. Humility and thankfulness for the gift of being called to servant leadership with and on behalf of our Latino communities must be the spirit with which we do our work as we go forth from this conference. Humility, thankfulness, commitment to family, the large extended family that we are. We've come from across this country and from other nations to gather and have this conference, a sign that our work together holds the seeds that will bear the fruit of justice. You and I will get to see that bearing and that blossoming of the fruit of justice, not only in the United States, but I believe in North, in Central, and South America, and globally around the world. Because I believe in us. I truly believe in us. So with joy, let's keep building, let's keep funding, and let's keep fueling Latinx power.